What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the Turn Up the Jets YouTube channel. As always, I am your host, Joe Skirdo. If you have not subscribed to the channel already, please press that subscribe button. All the support is much appreciated. Like the video if you've actually liked it. And you can also find me on other social media platforms such as Twitter and Instagram at Turn Up the Jets, all one word. Official. It's training camp time. Yesterday, players reported, kind of took the strength test, the physical, whatnot. But today they put the helmets on. It is an NFL rule that you're not supposed to have any contact the first day. I don't know the specific rules. So there wasn't a whole lot to gain off of day one, just because, I mean, it's not really real football. It's basically 7-on-7s, if you will. You know, these guys are in shorts, essentially, not actually, but they are. And just having helmets, there were no pads, so not a ton to gain other than the Jets audio team stinks. You know, Aaron Glenn finally gets to the podium during a real practice, post conference after a real practice, and they can't even get it right. Like his audio went from super high to super low, and then it just cut out completely at one point. And then the last question that was asked, they cut him off during the answer. Like it just ended. Like it was so classic. Like this is how the Jets season's going to start, that the audio team cannot even have the head coach give his opinions about his first ever training camp practice as the New York Jets head coach. It's so typical. But you know, you got to like what is coming from the building with Aaron Glenn leading the helm. It's just so much different. Again, it's not winning you football games because you haven't played anyone, but you have to feel somewhat good every time you hear Aaron Glenn speak, whether you think it's an act or not. I don't think it is, because we've heard numerous players say, like, no, he's like that all the time, and I believe he is. Other players also spoke to the media: Joe Tippmann, Jamien Sherwood, Justin Fields, and Isaiah Oliver. And there was a lot to take out of it. So again, it's not really a huge day. Like, it is a huge day, but not in terms of news. There's really nothing to report other than Garrett Wilson had a sick catch, just absolutely mossing two different defenders. But it's so hard to see like who did well and who didn't when you're not really actually playing football. I think they had Justin Fields going 5 for 8 in his passes, and you know, this is just like a 7-on-7. This is not real. But you know, I think as it progresses, you'll start seeing, you know, these guys go head to head and actually butting heads and hitting each other. That's when you can really gain more info of, you know, who's doing well and who really isn't. But I really wanted to dive in about a specific group on this team. And, you know, I kind of went over it a little bit when I was diving into the depth chart yesterday, but it's the wide receiver room. You know, it's obviously probably one of the weakest rooms on the team, definitely the weakest room on the offensive side. And that's really the side of the ball that we've all been concerned about. I just want to give my opinions, see what they could do, see if they add anyone. But this is a concern. This room is a big concern, in my opinion, just because, like, you don't have a proven quarterback. Justin Fields is still trying to prove himself that he belongs and he deserves to be a certified starter in this league. And you could say all you want, like the offensive line should be good. I believe it should be, just on paper, and in the running game should be a huge improvement of last year. I can't see Brees having another year like he did. I really think, you know, he was hurt most of the season and just played through it, and that totally affected his play. But if Fields is going to be effective, he needs guys and weapons to throw to. And other than Garrett Wilson, there's not much you can really, you know, be excited about. Really, there's not a whole lot of potential here in this room after Garrett Wilson. Like, you signed Josh Reynolds from the Broncos in free agency. You have Allen Lazard entering his third season as a Jet, and we all know how the first two seasons went. And then after that, it's just unproven guys. It's Malachi Corley, who I think who definitely is a cut candidate. Arian Smith, who is really a shocking 4th-round draft pick this year that a lot of fans and analysts kind of scratched their head about, but you know why they took him, due to his speed and athleticism. And then it's Xavier Gipson and Irv Charles, who are really just special team guys. So there's not a whole lot to get excited here. Like, you're going to have to at least carry 5. the first three are probably going to be a lock. You don't sign Reynolds to cut him. And you got Tyler Johnson too, I'm sorry, who they also signed from the Rams in free agency. So those are about, you're probably going to cut that down to about 5 players. I think Wilson, Reynolds, and Lazard are locks, even though Reynolds and Lazard aren't number 2s and 3s. Like those are 3s and 4s. They're really just missing a number 2, which is frustrating. And then Arian Smith, I would be absolutely shocked if he got cut. I don't think he's even close to being a cut candidate. They don't draft him in the 4th round to cut him right away. I think he's going to make the roster. It's really Malachi Corley, Tyler Johnson, and Irv Charles and Xavier Gipson are really going to be the guys, I would say, fighting for that 5th, maybe 6th spot if they decide to carry 6 wide receivers. I just don't know why they didn't sign anybody else. Like, there's still guys out there. It's almost August, and you got guys like Keenan Allen and Gabe Davis, DJ Chark, Amari Cooper. Like, these are, for the most part, maybe outside Chark, proven wide receivers. Chark really just has had injury concerns throughout his career, but these are proven guys. Like, Gabe Davis got a bag last year and went 1 and done. I mean, he had a pretty decent career with Josh Allen, given it's Josh Allen, and he's making everyone look good. But that's despite the fact, like, he could still be, like, he would be the number 2 receiver easily on this Jets team. Like, he would be plug and play number 2 behind Garrett Wilson. All of these guys really would be. I mean, DJ Chark, I'm not getting too excited, but I think him and Keenan Allen, at least with Gabe Davis and Keenan Allen, would totally be a plug and play at wide receiver too. So I almost understand why they're not doing it, because they want to really develop the guys they have on the roster. They already made the moves they wanted to make in free agency. They didn't make a ton of splashing moves outside of Justin Fields, and I think that's what they wanted to go with. And then they go draft their guys. You can see they wanted their guys, and they got their guys. I mean, Arian Smith was probably projected as a 6th rounder. He goes a 4th rounder over a lot of guys who probably were more talented and had better college careers than him. But they want to have their guys in their building, and they want to be able to develop their guys. So I think it's so much different than like a Joe Douglas move. If Douglas was here, Keenan Allen or Gabe Davis would be on the team. Like, I easily think one of those guys would have already been signed, to at least try to be the wide receiver 2 this year, because you just don't have it. You don't have it. And the Jets struggled last year, and they had 2 stud wide receivers. So what's going to happen now when you really only have Garrett Wilson? Like, it's not going to be hard for defenses to scheme up this offense who has 1 good wide receiver. Maybe you should double or put your best corner on Garrett Wilson at all times. But that's when the Jets have to get creative with Wilson. Like, Wilson's going to have to play everywhere. The X, the Y, the Z. I really like him predominantly in the slot. I think that's where he thrives. But it's hard to have your best wide receiver sit in the slot at all times. Like, you still need those outside guys to produce and go downfield and be able to, extend downs and extend drives rather. And they don't have that guy. Like, Josh Reynolds is a competent player, but this is a wide receiver 3 all day long. Lazard is luckily even a wide receiver 4, and the only reason he's making this team is because he took a big pay cut. But then people are saying they should trade him, but like, you really can't afford to trade him. If you trade Allen Lazard, then shoot, you're almost banking on a rookie like Arian Smith or someone to come out of the blue like Johnson or Malachi Corley, who I really don't have high expectations for, to really shock you. And I just don't really put my trust in that. Like, you are almost stuck with Allen Lazard because there's just not much talent in this room. And I hate to be negative, but it's like, it's a concern for me. It really is. And as I said, I like the rooms where the offensive line and running back rooms, but this is a big concern. I mean, this is going to be a group that is really going to either have Justin Fields kind of be who he was the last couple of years, or elevate him and actually make him a legitimate starting quarterback in this league. Like, you can't just depend on his legs. He needs to be able to have that dual threat ability. And I like the tight end room. I think Mason Taylor is going to be great. I don't know how quickly his potential is going to show. I mean, I think he's definitely going to have some rookie hiccups. I'm not expecting him to come out and have 800 yards and 6 touchdowns as a rookie. I think that's just really unrealistic expectations. And, Stone Smart, I mean, this is a guy who's played some football over the years. He got a lot of opportunity last year due to injuries with the Chargers. And then you just got Jeremy Ruckert, and you know what you have in Jeremy Ruckert, and it really hasn't been there. And I just can't be that guy to say that this is going to be his breakout year when we have seen really zero indication to thinking that. Like there has not been any type of game that like, whoa, this guy could be really good. So yeah, I'm kind of worried about what the throwing game is going to look like in this Tanner Engstrom offense when you don't have any threats at wide receiver other than Garrett Wilson. I mean, thank the Lord you have a Garrett Wilson. But the Jets really got to have to figure out how they are going to best set up these guys who aren't really as good as every other team's number 2 and number 3. Like, how do you put them in the best situations in order to benefit Justin Fields and still have an effective pass game? That's what the Jets are going to have to do. And that all is going to come down to coaching. If these guys, if you're having Reynolds really if you have Josh Reynolds playing really well and Lazard isn't dropping balls and is blocking really well, like what we thought he was going to do when they signed him a few years ago, then that really comes down to coaching, in my opinion. I think the Jets' best bet is Josh Reynolds plays like a wide receiver 3, and you have guys every week that maybe shock you a little bit. And I think Arian Smith is the one you have to point at. It's super tough to tell whether this kid is going to be good or not, just because there's issues. There's a reason why he was a 4th round pick. There was a reason why he was in and out of the lineup at Georgia throughout his college career. He's had drop issues and he's had separation issues, even though he's very fast, but in press coverage, he's not that big. He kind of gets bullied. So that also could raise some concerns there for Arian Smith. But hey, if Smith can be let's say legitimate wide receiver 3 as a rookie, then I'm okay with the room. Like I'm super okay. Again, that's high expectation though. So if I was the GM, I get it. I get what Darren Muji's doing. He wants his guys in the building, and he wants to see what the coaching staff can do with the guys they have. And they don't want to start mixing and matching with veterans. And their key is to stay young. And they're going to be one of the youngest teams in the NFL going into this season. They barely have guys that are over 30. And you saw it was really a pattern in the free agency signings that they barely signed any guy over 30 years old. They're going the youth way, which is smart, especially with the coach like Aaron Glenn when you're trying to implement a culture. But I mean, come on, like Gabe Davis is out there. Keenan Allen is out there. I'm not really big on Amari Cooper, and I'm not really big on DJ Chark, but if they signed one of those guys, I wouldn't be mad. I mean, they're better than whatever they have right now with Reynolds and Lazard. You're putting a lot of pressure on Reynolds and Lazard, and that just kind of raises some concerns for me. But this is just all blabber because I could be completely wrong. The receiving room could be good, or it could even be worse than what I'm talking it up to be. So it's just the unknown is going to be there until they start strapping up the pads and playing actual football games against actual teams. And but I definitely think you're not crazy to be concerned. Like, you should be concerned about this room. Can it be better than what I'm saying? Of course it can. Of course. But just on paper, it's concerning. I do think, there'll be some cuts. I said it briefly yesterday. I think Malachi Corley is going to not make this roster. I just don't know what he is as a player, right? Like, he's got to prove a ton in training camp. Like, he's going to have to blow away people say, hey, I am a 3rd round draft pick. This is why I was picked so high early in the 3rd round. It didn't work out in his favor that he's missed all of OTAs and minicamp. Like, he is behind in terms of the other guys with Smith and more so like Xavier Gibson. Like, I think Xavier Gibson and Corley are really going to be battling of who's going to make the roster, who's not. Gibson almost has the edge because he has the ability to return kicks and punts. Corley did it in college, but I mean, I really don't even think they're going to utilize him that way. I could totally see even Arian Smith getting opportunities to return kicks and punts, and he is blazing fast. So it just doesn't look good for Malachi Corley. But that's really, the main part of this video is The wide receiver room is concerning, and I think it sucks for Justin Fields that they didn't get another wide receiver. I know there were tons of guys out there, and none of these guys are super sexy anymore that are on the block. Like, I think I would take Gabe Davis. He would probably be my top option. Somewhat younger, Keenan Allen's past his prime. I think he's 31, 32 years old. Same goes as Amari Cooper. DJ Chark mentioned it earlier, just had injury concerns. But also, if you look at it, it's like Gabe Davis, Josh Reynolds, Allen Lazard, it's still not great, but at least you have other options. Like, you have to at least give him 4 valuable options, at least 3 or 4. And like, you can argue that he doesn't even have 2, but because Josh Reynolds isn't a number 2 guy, I like the veteran leadership. I liked the sign, but I thought they were going to do more once they put pen to paper to Reynolds, but obviously that wasn't the case. But that's going to be a group that I'm going to be watching all offseason, and not offseason, all training camp. So I'll definitely be reporting. Hopefully, maybe they sign someone, but I doubt it. I don't think they're going to do it, and I don't really hold the blame of them not doing it now. I really hold the blame of them not doing it earlier, like during free agency. But it is what it is. It's going to be exciting. A lot of new faces on this offense, especially the quarterback. Can he excel in this offense despite the group? We'll all have to see. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like the video if you actually liked it. I appreciate it if you made it throughout the whole video. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And again, you can follow me on X and on Instagram at Turn Up the Jets. All one word. I will be creating Jets content weekly. Stay tuned to many, many more videos. See ya.